For more on this, we turn to Congressman Jim Langevin, now a member of the Cyberspace Solarium Commission, a bipartisan body tasked with developing a strategic approach to defending cyber attacks against the U.S. Congressman, the mention of Russia sounds awfully familiar, and it does raise the question as to whether or not the White House needs to put more pressure on Russia from keeping this from happening again.
Good evening, Carl. Yes, President Biden and the Congress need to make it clear to other countries, particularly Russia, that there's a price to pay if they're going to look the other way and allow criminal organizations like what happened with Colonial or the JBS ransomware attack to just act with impunity, that there's a price to pay, because this is getting more and more serious. And my concern is, at what point does it then hit critical infrastructure that it does not only damage to our economy, but if this had been a natural gas pipeline, for example, that gets shut down in the dead of winter through a ransomware attack and it leads to loss of life, this needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. We need to put pressure on Russia and whoever is carrying these things out or allowing criminal organizations to carry out these attacks. This cannot continue. I'm angry as hell.
I wonder where you think the pivot has come. Why is the problem seemingly worse all of a sudden? Was there some catalyst to make this a story that comes more often?
Well, as a former police detective friend of mine used to say, that wherever there's money involved, someone's going to try to steal it. And these cyber criminals now have access to these cyber tools that are allowing ransomware attacks to happen. They can happen again and again. And clearly what's happening is often it's cheaper to pay the ransom than to reconstitute your cyber networks and the time and the resources that would be devoted to getting these things up and running. The cyber criminals know this, and if they can act with impunity, as it seems is happening right now, because Russia apparently is looking the other way, then they're going to keep doing it. We need to crack down on them, and crack down on them hard.
Now, DHS has issued some orders that would require companies to be more responsive when they are victim to an attack. I wonder, is it too early to tell how effective that has been? And how much more money do you think DHS needs to help fight this?
Well, we need to, again, act with greater urgency, and we need to make sure that an organization like CISA is properly resourced. They're not right now. That's why I joined my colleague, Congressman Mike Gallagher. He and I have written to appropriators asking for an additional $400 million for the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which is the primary civilian agency for protecting the .gov network, but they're also the primary contact with private sector critical infrastructure. And we'll work with them both on cyber planning to anticipate problems, come up with response, and also devote resources to helping to respond to a cyber incident of this nature.
And until we get either more funding or more infrastructure to help the response, are we essentially just sitting ducks? Are we in a dark period now where we are truly vulnerable to the next attack in the near term?
We may be vulnerable in the near term, but there are things that we can do to make sure that the cyber criminals are not successful. First of all, private sector critical infrastructure has to get much more serious about using already tools at their disposal to protect themselves. So certainly whether it's cyber companies, experts that will help them to better secure the networks, also turning on things like multi-factor authentication and practicing good cyber hygiene. But beyond that, we also can get more aggressive through law enforcement tools, working with the FBI and CISA, either to shut down these criminal networks, working on the international front to impose sanctions on governments that look the other way, so that we compel governments to get more serious about cracking down on the cyber criminal organizations operating within their own borders. There are things that we can do to protect ourselves, but the President Biden and the administration, who I believe are taking this very seriously and already engaging with Russia to make sure that it is clear that Russia needs to work hard to shut these things out. There are things that we can do now to protect ourselves.
It's a problem we're becoming all too familiar with. Congressman, thank you.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.